Hello, this is Lady B, and those of you who know me know that one of the things I love to do, along with my husband, is go shopping at thrift stores and secondhand stores and try to find things that other people don't need anymore, but we can make use of. And one of the things that you find when you go to these thrift stores, a lot of, it's not necessarily there's a lot of them, but they seem to always be there. And that is Mini-Crocks. Now, they were really popular decades ago, and they were used for storing items. But over time, we've replaced them with first the plastic sealable containers. And right now, I think glass with a rubber seal is becoming very, very, very popular. But this used to be the storage of medium. This one says T on it, and they have these lids they come with. Now, a lot of the time, when you go to the thrift stores, you'll find them without the lids. The lids will have broken, and they'll just end up there because the family can't use them anymore. And I don't know what they think the rest of us are going to do with them, but still, when it's out at the landfill, you send it to a thrift store and hope that somebody has an idea. Well, this one I bought as a set of 3 because I needed the lids for something else that had the lids broken. And a tea set I had bought, where out of the 3 lids on the tea set, 2 had broken. So I bought these because these lids would work. And I've left this one as it is. And they all have this picture on it, and they had different words. This one says tea. I can use this maybe for a Christmas present, making a blend of tea to send to somebody. So it won't go to waste. But the other 2 no longer have lids. So I was thinking, what could I do with this that would make it so it wasn't wasted? And it occurred to me that in a couple of weeks, we're going to be having a large family dinner, and we're going to be having rolls. So I thought, what if I make a small batch of mulberry jam using a low to no sugar pectin mix, and that way they'll have that they can spread on their rolls. Now, you don't have to use mulberries. If you don't have a mulberry tree, you probably won't have mulberries. They do not keep well on the shelves, which is why you don't usually see them in stores. About the only way to get mulberries is to have a tree. If you do have a tree, they store really well frozen. So my sister has a tree, and she picked about 50 pounds of mulberry this summer and froze them. So mulberries I have. If you don't have them, you could do the exact same recipe with raspberries, blackberries. These low pectin, low sugar pectins that you buy have, if you peel back the label, that's usually where it is. Sometimes it comes with it as a little booklet, but they have instructions for making these small batch jams right on the bottles. So for whatever the fruit may be that you want to use. The thing is about these is it can take a week or 2 to set up, which is why I'm doing it now and not in a couple weeks. So first I prepped my Crocs. Now, they had lettering on them, like I said, just like this, but they didn't say tea. And I spent 2 hours each scraping the words off. It was really hard. It was a pain. Not sure I'd do it again. But I got most of it off, and now I've painted over both of them with the word thanks. And I've just used one of these paints that comes in the little nozzle that has a raised surface as it dries, so that it will match the raised surface of the picture that's already on it. And I will be using these to put my jam in which I will then be putting strictly into my freezer. If I wanted to keep my jam for a while, I would need to actually do the whole water bath canning in a bottle and everything. But because it's just for in a week or two and it should all be used up, I can put it right in these, seal them, put them in the fridge. So that's the plan. So let's see how it works out. Okay, so I've gathered everything I need, and I'm here in my kitchenette with no stove or sink, but I do have a fire extinguisher. Anyway, to the recipe. When you're cooking with mulberries, you use the same recipes as for blackberries, but that's what this is here. But you have to add lemon juice because the acidity level in mulberries varies so wildly. There's just no way to tell if you're going to have enough or not. So for this recipe, we have the option of no sugar or low sugar, and I'm doing the low sugar. And it says I want 1 1/3 cups of my prepared fruit, which in this case, prepared means that I'm going to put a layer of my berries in here, and I'm going to mash them layer by layer as I add it until I get up to 1 1/3 cups, which is right here. It's actually not that high, but I need to be able to squish them. I'm not sure that's going to fit, but we'll make it work. So, 1 layer. And mulberries, if you've never worked with mulberries before, these darker ones, they stain. So don't wear anything that will show a stain or that you care about when you work with mulberries. That's why I have a black shirt on and a cooking apron. So I squish them down. There. That should do it. Let's see what we have. Yep. There we go. 1 1/3. Now I need to put this back in the freezer. Would you like to see what 50 pounds of frozen mulberries looks like? 50 pounds of mulberries. Right there. Minus a couple pounds. So that went straight back into the freezer. And now it's time to assemble. So I'm going to combine my fruit with my fruit juice, and it calls for 1/3 cup of fruit juice. So this is my pot I'll be making it in. There we go. Wipe anything up that hits the ground immediately. If you drip with any of the mulberry, wipe it up immediately. Like I said, it stains. All right, so there it is. And then 1/3 cup, I believe it said 1/3 cup. 1/3 cup of fruit juice. So, obviously I can't get mulberry juice, so I have some cranberry pomegranate juice. It's 100% juice. It's a juice blend, but it's 100% juice. And I think with this being for the holidays, that little extra flavor from the cranberry and pomegranate will be really good. So 1/3 of a cup. 5 1/3 tablespoons. Basic math, 16 tablespoons to 8 ounces. So 1/3 of that is 5 1/3. All right. so there's my fruit juice. And then the next thing I believe I add is the lemon, which is 1 tablespoon. So, fresh is best. If you can't get fresh, get really good quality stuff. This is 100% organic lemon juice. Italian volcano lemons. Anyway, this is really good stuff. It makes some of the best lemonade I have ever made. And so I think that will add a really nice flavor to this. So 1 tablespoon, which is the same as 1/2 ounce. There we go. Now I gradually stir in my pectin. For this, that is 1.5 tablespoons. So right now I add my pectin. So nice when they have the recipes built right in. So gradually stir it in, which means I'm going to do it teaspoon by teaspoon so I can be gradual. All right, now I am going to bring this to a full rolling boil where it won't be stirred down. If I stir it, it doesn't stop boiling. Over a high heat, stirring constantly, and then I will add my honey. I'm going to use, let's see, it says up to a half cup of honey, and boil it hard for another 1 minute while stirring constantly, then remove it from heat and pack. So it's pretty basic. Now, for those of you who are not accustomed to using honey, I have a tip for you. The fact is, honey used as a substitute for sugar is actually best at half the amount of the sugar, or the honey flavor takes over everything. It will make it sweet enough at half. And if you don't like things really sweet, you can even go down to 1/3. But you do not, unless you really like the taste of honey and you want it to be one of your major flavors, do not use honey at full strength when you're using it instead of sugar. Always cut it by half. So where this calls for a half cup, up to a half cup, we want to use at most 1/4 of a cup. So there's 1 ounce. I'm going to need 2 of these when the time comes to put this in. For right now, it's time to go upstairs and use the stove. And there it is. Now, obviously, I underestimated how much this would hold, because that's, according to the recipe, should be 2 cups. But that just means that I can make a different kind of jam and put it in this one, and then we'll have 2 kinds of jam. So now I need to finish it off. Now I have these lids, and what they are is they're actually meant for canning. They're reusable plastic canning lids. And they have ridges here, and you place the rubber ring in it, and then normally with a canning jar this would go on where a regular canning lid would be, and then you would water bath it and seal it. But I'm just going to use this because this actually fits perfectly over the top here. So, but before I put that on, I am going to take just a little bit of plastic wrap And since this is going in the refrigerator for a couple of weeks, I want to make sure that there is no air touching this. So I'm going to place this down on the top surface of my jam. This is cooled enough I can do this. Everything's been cleaned. I wouldn't do this if I was going to be canning it, of course, but this is going in the refrigerator. So this is something I do with things I put in the refrigerator. I just make sure, put it down in such a way there's no air bubbles and there's no air getting in on that. There we go. Now I'm going to place this lid over it. And then I have wax paper. I'm going to mark my wax paper at least an inch below the top. That has made a circle. So this part is probably unnecessary. I could just tape this down, but I have bought this fabric that I thought would be really cute with this for Thanksgiving. So, and it's moments like this I wish I had pinking shears. I had some years ago and I have no idea what happened to them. But I want to center that. So that, place this over it. Place that over it. And I have a matching rubber band here. Hold it in place. It up, I have some jute here. Just tie that up. There we go. And there we have it. Mini-Crock with a low sugar, small batch mulberry jam to be used within the next few weeks and stored in the refrigerator. And I'll bet there are other things that could be done with these Mini-Crocks too, especially in the holidays when we're handing out gifts. If you have any ideas, I'd love to see them in the suggestion below. And if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Until then, whether making jam or reusing old Crocs from secondhand stores, or doing your own crafts with things rescued, whatever it is you do, don't be afraid to suit yourself and make whatever it is exclusively you. Italian volcano. And there we have it. Oh. I gotta stop doing that.